Former AEW World Champion CM Punk reportedly is a major part of the WWE pitch to Warner Bros. Discovery to secure the television rights for Monday Night Raw and possibly remove AEW from the network. Plenty of details on that, plus an update on the severity of Kenny Omega's diverticulitis and how, if he had not gone to hospital sooner, it could have been much worse for the AEW Executive Vice President. We've also got an update on next year's WWE Hall of Fame class of 2024. It will be the first Hall of Fame class that will have nothing to do with Vince McMahon, with Triple H having the final say on the inductees. William Regal is now free to appear once again on WWE television after his exit from AEW last year. We've got more details on AJ Styles' heel turn. Is it a heel turn? We'll let you know about that. Kevin Owens is expected to be the next opponent to face Logan Paul in WWE. An update on if AEW actually has made a play for top WWE target Julia Bandido. We've got an update on him as to when he's expected to return to the ring after his recent wrist surgery. The Rascals re-signed with TNA Wrestling, and an update on the health of AEW senior producer Dean Malenko. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about AEW, WBD, WWE, and Monday Night Raw, and all of the stories and rumors and rumblings that are going on with this saga. Now, CM Punk's arrival in WWE has had a huge impact. When CM Punk walked out in front of a packed crowd at Survivor Series, the wrestling world stood stunned. Not only had Punk returned to WWE after almost a decade away, following a spectacularly acrimonious exit, but his big comeback was also somehow kept a secret. After this appearance, Punk headed to Raw, SmackDown, and NXT before officially becoming part of the Monday Night Raw roster. While Punk's return has done blockbuster numbers on social media and his merchandise is flying off the shelves, he could have yet an even bigger impact on the wider WWE business. It's been reported that AEW could move from TBS and even Warner Bros. Discovery altogether when the latest rounds of TV rights negotiations are complete. Not only that, WWE Raw could land with WBD despite talk said to be dead just a few weeks earlier. Although it seems to be wide of the mark to suggest Punk alone has been the reason for this shift, his arrival in WWE and early success from a business perspective has impacted the playing field here. Writing in this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer noted that it's been stated to him that Punk has been a major part of WWE's pitch to Warner Bros. Discovery. Quote, the CM Punk signing looks to have opened doors up since Endeavor's Mark Shapiro, along with Nick Khan and Paul Levesque, had a meeting with WBD this past week. One report we had was that Punk was a major part of the pitch with the idea he'd be a regular on the Raw brand. The report we had included pushing his merchandise sales and his social media views, along with the ratings of recent shows. Of course, it's been announced that CM Punk will return to the ring at Madison Square Garden on December 26th. The match against Dominic Mysterio will be his first in WWE since way back in January of 2014. WWE will also be dusting off a bull rope match stipulation for Cody Rhodes' match against Shinsuke Nakamura at the very same event. But what are your thoughts with the latest developments? What are your thoughts on CM Punk being a major part of the pitch by WWE to Warner Bros. Discovery? Is that smart? Does that spell doom for AEW on WBD? Where do you think this is going to go? Do you think Raw is going to land on TNT on TBS? What would that mean for AEW? Where would AEW go? Would that be the end for AEW? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Speaking of AEW, we've got an update on Kenny Omega and the health of the AEW EVP. Kenny Omega is out of action indefinitely, having been diagnosed with diverticulitis following his admittance into hospital. Omega shared a photo of himself in hospital on December 14, with the seriousness of his condition being reported shortly thereafter. Dave Meltzer provided further insight into how bad the condition was in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, writing, quote, at the December 13 show in Arlington, Texas, the pain was very clear backstage, and after doing his promo ended up in the hospital where he got the diagnosis. He was told when diagnosed that he was very lucky he went in because the situation could have been catastrophic, such as getting a blood infection if he wasn't diagnosed at the time he was, which would have been something like a 50% chance of death. Now, Diverticulitis is an inflammation caused by pouches or bulges called diverticula forming in the walls of the large intestine/colon. Common symptoms include severe abdominal pain, nausea, and high temperatures. Omega reportedly felt unwell before his match with Ethan Page on the December 9th episode of AEW Collision. He would, however, compete on the show anyway and was scheduled to appear on the December 13th episode of AEW Dynamite. It was at this show that Omega would feature in a promo segment with Chris Jericho, Ricky Starks, and Big Bill, with several of those backstage noting that Omega wasn't well. Of course, we wish him the best in his road to recovery, but no timelines been given as to when we could see the cleanup back inside of an AEW ring. Now let's talk about the Hall of Fame here. This is a really interesting story when it comes to the class of 2024. Next year's WrestleMania 40 event in Philadelphia will be the first edition of the major event not to take place under the McMahon ownership, with the Endeavor WWE takeover being finalized back in September. With Endeavor anointing Paul Triple H Levesque as the head of creative and Vince McMahon's power being reduced, questions have been asked about the upcoming Hall of Fame class and who will have the final say on the inductees. In an update from Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the Hall of Fame class will fall under Triple H for the first time rather than Vince McMahon. Meltzer writes, quote, regarding the Hall of Fame, this year will fall under Levesque for the first time instead of McMahon. It's likely still the same basic rules regarding women, minorities, and characters that the audience would know and those who make sense politically for a variety of reasons. I think Levesque may be a little more open to certain types since he was a fan of more than just WWE, but once WWE owned the tape libraries, a lot of the stigma involved in that was gone. I was told that, for example, if there was a political reason to put someone in that Nick Khan would want, that would be a factor, but the Hall of Fame is under creative and that's Levesque's department. He'd in theory sign off on everyone. Of course, this past year's Hall of Fame class saw Rey Mysterio receive the honor of being inducted while still being an active competitor with the company. Who do you think should headline the 2024 class of the Hall of Fame in WWE? Speaking of Triple H, his right-hand man, William Regal, could appear on WWE television once again if that's what Triple H and William Regal wish. William Regal departed AEW last December and returned to WWE. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Regal's non-compete clause is, quote, just about over, which means he can start appearing on television again. His most recent televised appearance came on the November 30, 2022 AEW Dynamite. That night, reigning AEW World Champion MJF turned on Regal and attacked him with a pair of brass knuckles. The Observer's Dave Meltzer believes that Regal, who has been working as Vice President of Global Talent Development since returning to WWE, could make a cameo appearance for the Stamford, Connecticut-based promotion in the future, but doesn't see the former Intercontinental Champion returning to television full-time unless it was as an authority figure or manager. Meltzer feels that WWE wouldn't have given Nick Aldis the role of SmackDown General Manager if they had planned for Regal to fill that on-screen position. He also noted that while he doesn't think Shawn Michaels is better than Regal as NXT's authority figure, the Hall of Famer does have a bigger name. AEW CEO Tony Khan spoke about Regal's situation during the Ring of Honor Final Battle post-show media scrum last year. He confirmed that Regal's departure would only allow him to work behind the scenes at WWE throughout 2023. However, Khan was not best pleased with WWE's Chief Content Officer Paul Triple H Levesque posting past clips of Regal saying War Games on social media ahead of 2022's Survivor Series War Games premium live event. What are your thoughts on Regal, and do you think he'll appear once again on WWE television, or will he remain behind the scenes for WWE? Now, Friday night, it means SmackDown on Fox, and we're going to find out more details about why AJ Styles attacked LA Knight last week. AJ Styles is back, but he might not be turning heel. Styles returned to SmackDown after 3 months away to what some considered to be a heel turn for the long-term top star. Styles attacked Roman Reigns, but also went after the babyface LA Knight. However, based on internal WWE sources to Fightful's Corey Brennan, it might not be a full-fledged heel turn. Sources have told Fightful Select that as of now, the direction is for Styles to be somewhat justified in his attack of LA Knight. Another source reportedly told Fightful it's a bit of a, quote, choose-your-own-adventure, end quote, situation with Styles. As with any of these situations, creative plans can and will change. Styles is scheduled for an in-ring promo and a match on tonight's episode of SmackDown, so I guess we might find out more on the broadcast on Fox. Now, Kevin Owens and Logan Paul seem to be on a collision course in WWE. It's likely Logan Paul going to be defending his United States Championship at the Royal Rumble next month, and his opponent may already be chosen. The Royal Rumble takes place on January 27, 2024, and while no matches have been officially announced just yet, WWE stars are announcing themselves for the titular men's and women's match. As for what could happen when it comes to championship matches, Dave Meltzer revealed details for Logan Paul in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, writing, quote, "Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens for the US title is also expected." Of course, KO confronted Logan Paul on the December 1st episode of SmackDown. During their encounter, Owen announced that he was in the 8-man tournament to determine the number one contender for the US Championship. It would lead to Austin Theory continuing to irate Owens, who delivered a punch to the face to the former two-time United States champion. The pair would have a tournament match on the December 15 episode of SmackDown, which saw Owens advance. Logan Paul has been the United States champion since defeating Rey Mysterio at Crown Jewel on November 4, 2023. This marked his first reign as a champion in WWE and only his 8th match in the company since his in-ring debut at WrestleMania 38 in April 2022. Now, there's been so much talk recently about Julia going to WWE. It's led to some questions. Has AEW actually made an offer to the Stardom and New Japan star? Well, it appears that that's not really the case. Julia remains under contract to Bushiroad until March 2024, with it being reported that she has spoken to WWE, quote, several times of late. In the current issue of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer addressed the interest levels in the Stardom star, writing, quote, "Nothing new on Julia past that AEW has never made a serious play for her, and she's had no conversations with AEW and is not considering them. It's WWE or staying in Japan." Now, the relationship between WWE and Julia has been a bit of a complex one, with previous claims that she was due at the Performance Center that was later dismissed. We've had other people like Shayna Baszler naming Julia as a dream opponent in a recent interview. Julia is the current Artist of Stardom champion, having held that championship twice. She's a former Goddess of Stardom champion and has held the Wonder of Stardom and World of Stardom championships. In New Japan, she's the current New Japan Strong Women's champion and defended her title in her first United States match at the Impact Wrestling co-promoted multiverse event in August of this year. So she's been very busy, but it appears as of right now her mind's still not made up. She could stay in Japan or she could go to WWE. One place she's not going though is AEW. Speaking of AEW, we got a bit of an update when it comes to Bandido. Having undergone a second wrist surgery, the timeline for Bandido's return to the AEW ring may have now been revealed. Of course, Bandido recently announced that his second surgery was successful, thanking his fans and Tony Khan for their support. Dave Meltzer has now provided new details for Bandido's return to the ring in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, writing, quote, "Bandido had his second wrist surgery on December 16. As noted previously, his left wrist didn't heal properly from the first surgery. He had considered not having surgery, but then he would be working the rest of his career on a messed up wrist. The timeline for a return, we're told, is probably May, but hopeful for April." Bandido suffered his wrist injury back in June of this year on an AEW Rampage during a match against Konosuke Takeshita. He would reveal that he had broken his wrist shortly after the injury, with the first surgery taking place in July. On December 1st, 2023, he revealed that his wrist was still bad and he had the option of the second surgery or physiotherapy. Bandido made his AEW debut in September of last year, signing a contract with AEW in November of that same year. We wish him the best in his recovery as well. Now let's switch gears here and talk about TNA Wrestling. They've been signing and re-signing a lot of talent recently, and the Rascals are the latest names. In 3 weeks, Impact Wrestling will usher in a new era as they officially revive their original company name, Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, TNA. As such, the promotion has begun to reveal which roster members will be moving forward with them under the new banner. The latest addition is confirmed to be the former Impact Tag Team Champions, the Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz. News of the Rascals re-signing was first announced on the December 21st episode of Impact on Access TV, before the company shared the breaking updates on X, formerly known as Twitter. Wentz and Miguel now join the likes of Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, who have recently extended their contracts with the company ahead of the upcoming rebrand. Impact/TNA is also secured deals for Danny Luna, Kushida, and also Trent Seven as well. So they're the latest names to have signed new deals with TNA. Finally, some positive news when it comes to AEW senior producer and former WWE and WCW star Dean Malenko. Jim Ross has confirmed that AEW senior producer and coach Dean Malenko recently underwent successful brain surgery. In 2021, Malenko opened up about this at the time, his 7-year battle with Parkinson's disease, a condition that affects the brain. Speaking on a recent episode of Grilling JR, Jim Ross provided an update on Malenko saying, quote, "I saw Dean Malenko. Malenko's had some health issues. I saw him there and he had brain brain surgery, and it stops his shakes from the Parkinson's, and he's had the surgery. He's such a sweetheart of a guy. The Hall of Famer would go on to discuss Malenko's role in AEW, explaining, quote, he's one of those unsung guys that's such an MVP at AEW because of his guidance, his coaching. He encourages the talents to bring with them to him what they want to do, and then he helps them. He contributes. It's teaching. All that is coaching, and he's really, really good at it. Now, Malenko retired from in-ring competition in 2001 during his time in WWE, following Vince McMahon's purchase of WCW and its assets. He would then transition into a backstage role, serving as a road agent until he left WWE in April 2019. Malenko would then later join All Elite Wrestling in May 2019 as a senior producer. So best of thoughts and wishes go to Dean Malenko. Hopefully this brain surgery has really helped him out and helped alleviate some of the pain and difficulties from that horrible, horrible disease that is Parkinson's. But there you go, guys. That's the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.